Welcome back to Pop Tabs, keeping tabs on all your pop culture news. I'm your host, Matthew Yapp. Joining me today is...
McKenna Kolb.
And...
Mayzie Brammer.
Mayzie, you've been on pretty much all the last few episodes, and that's because we love you so much. We're keeping you around. You're an official co-host.
Oh my god, this is the first time hearing of this. This is crazy. Co-host.
You know this is crazy.
What's crazy?
Jeff Goldblum. So Jeff Goldblum kind of ran into a little bit of controversy when recently he was quoted saying that he thinks the presumption of innocence until proven guilty regarding Woody Allen and his ongoing sexual assault allegations needs to be respected. So he said, even though I feel this cultural shift to the Me Too movement is very, very positive and long overdue, and I support it wholeheartedly and take it very seriously, I also admire his body of work. So would I consider working with him again until I learn something more negative? So, yeah. So basically what he's saying is until he has stone cold, hard cold, like court-proven case, he would be willing to continue working with Woody Allen, where some people feel that they don't want to work with Woody Allen because, if you are unaware, he was accused of sexual assault by his adopted daughter, Dylan Farrow, back in 1992. So what are our initial thoughts on this, gang?
I was really surprised because from my knowledge, it was just kind of public knowledge that we should not work with Woody Allen anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And for someone like Jeff Goldblum to come out, who I think he's one of those guys in Hollywood that everyone loves.
Yeah.
He's always doing fun meme stuff. He makes fun noises, you know.
He loves dinosaurs.
He loves dinosaurs so much. I was really surprised that he would be one to come out and say that because I feel like he's kind of on top of it when it comes to stuff like this. But yeah, I understand the innocent until proven guilty thing to an extent, but for me it just seems like the Woody Allen case is a bit cut and dry. He was never accused of it, but there were also witnesses, and there's this woman who her whole life was changed because of this one guy's decisions. Just because that guy is famous, it's okay. So I'm shocked, but I'd like to keep track of this as it's ongoing to see how he progresses with his thoughts for sure. Mm-hmm.
No, I do too. I was surprised as well because, it is, as you said, proving the innocence until proven guilty to an extent because, that's just how our judicial systems, this is how we should cooperate, even though, in other continents, even mostly Europe, it's guilty until proven innocent, and I feel like that's how we treat people. But yeah, when I first heard that Jeff Goldblum said this, it was shocking, and then I remember going onto Twitter, and people were like, "We're no longer he's no longer part of the Golden Trio or something."
Yeah.
And we're putting Paul Rudd in. And I'm like, okay,
why wasn't Paul Rudd already there?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, because it's a serious accusation, and I thought. It was a common thing not to work with Woody Allen, even though, his movies are praised. Mm-hmm. It would be interesting. It's a serious accusation, and I actually mistaked the one daughter for the other daughter.
Oh.
By accident, yeah. At first, because I was like, oh, and I'm like, that's strange. But anyway, yeah, I kind of want to see how it goes, because it's kind of, I hate cancel culture, but it's people are saying, let's cancel Jeff Goldblum, but just for a moment, and then it's everything's okay. But
right, it's really weird when people jump on someone and then they're instantly wait, it dies down.
Yeah,
Super
exactly.
Yeah.
No, it makes me, honestly, the best way I can think is curious to see if this actually affects him, because he is someone who's so beloved, and he's. The best way I can phrase it is he stayed pretty unproblematic up until now, and kind of stayed in his lane. Yeah. And so I'm curious to see if this is actually something people cancel people over, because we hear that people are canceled a lot, and then they move on with their lives just fine.
Right. And when I was doing research for this, there's people that I didn't even know, mostly women, support him. Cate Blanchett, really surprised me.
That's surprising.
Yeah, because she's usually on top of it. When the whole Harvey Weinstein thing was happening, she was one of the people, because Carol is a Weinstein Company production.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was it was really close after that came out, and she was one of the ones that was vocal against him. So I don't know, it's kind of weird how people pick and choose. I guess that in this case there's less proof, but I think the allegations are just as serious, so I don't know. I'm interested to see how this plays out.
No, I think that we can definitely see that, people can commit some kind of heinous crimes and still be fine in the Hollywood eye. I think Roman Polanski's a great example of that. I mean, he's still in the academy, and she definitely is in love with a minor. So we have like cases like that, and people sort of move on. But like you said, we have a ton of actors who are saying that they would still work with Woody Allen again. Scarlett Johansson, Selena Gomez, Blake Lively, Kate Winslet, Cate Blanchett, all said that they definitely work with Woody Allen again. And so, do you think that this is kind of people putting his art before him as a person? Do you think it's just them not believing it about him? What do you think is the deciding factor why they would want to work with someone like that again?
I think it's a bit of both. I read a quote from Kate Winslet that was like, look, like, I'm an actor, like, I show up on set, like, it's none of my business, like, what the director's personal life is, which is, like, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you're both in positions of power, you're both millionaires, and you both, like, are, like, setting an example for, like, the rest of the world and how this is handled, so maybe, like, be a little bit more cautious. But I think that as far as the statement of like artists being separated from their art, I think that a lot of the times that applies when we find out that someone did something awful like after they're dead or no longer working. But Woody Allen is like still working and he's still making movies. Like he makes a movie like, well, he used to like once every year. Like this guy is like out there. So for people like this to continue to like give him a platform, or really just not even give him a platform, just like kind of turn a blind eye to it is really shocking, honestly.
No, like as you said, it's weird that she would say, was it Cate Blanchett or Winslet? Blanchett?
Oh, Kate Winslet said that.
Winslet, okay. That she would say, like, I have nothing to do with his personal life, but it is, I mean, you can try to separate the artist from his art, and it seems like she is doing that in this case because, I mean, it seems like a dream come true to work on a Woody Allen film, but to be associated with him, it's kind of, like, tricky because of that accusation, and, like, even though people have said they would work with him again, they've been torn down just for working with him in the first place. I just...
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it almost feels like, you know, saying that you refuse to take a stance on it either way, it does sort of feel like supporting him, because I think there is a difference between, you know, you're an actor and a prominent actor like Blanchett or Winslet, and you're willing to work with him with, say, or Jeff Goldblum, and there's a difference between that and, say, like, a company, like, accountant not wanting to work for a company because the CEO's awful, but they do it because it's their job.
Right, exactly.
Like, these are people who are in a similar level of power. If an accountant doesn't want to work for someone, no one will care. But if, you know, say, Jeff Goldblum, who's really well-respected, says, I don't want to work with you because of X, Y, Z, that does actually have some impact. So I feel like I would say it's wrong to just dismiss it and be like, oh, well, I'm just an actor. I have nothing to do about it. You know, it's just the job.
Right.
It's a job that you chose. And I do think to an extent there's a certain responsibility to that.
Right. And like Woody Allen is one of those directors who's like super collaborative. So it's not like it's like you said, like an accountant, like literally just like punch in, like working for the idea of something. Like you're literally like, you have close personal relationships with these people. So it's like, yeah, it adds another level of to it.
Right, right. No, that being said, that a lot of people have said that, like, you know, his films are super amazing and speak for themselves, and so that's kind of the real thing here is that people would rather be a part of his films. Do you think just because something is great art, it kind of excuses where it came from?
Honestly, no, because the way I look at it is that there are tons of people out there like doing great work. Like Woody Allen is like, I mean, he's very well known for being this kind of like, you know, making like great dramas and all that, but there are so many other people out there that are doing the same thing. He's just been kind of skyrocketed to the top, and he is iconic, but like, I had a film teacher a few semesters ago at IPY who said, like, she was talking to us and she was like, I don't care about the allegations, like, I'm forgetting the name of the famous like Woody Allen movie, but she's like, this is one of my favorite movies, like, you're not gonna make me stop watching it. And I was like, no one said this or that, you just have to like take responsibility and acknowledge what he probably did. So it's, I don't know, it's that kind of thing.
No, exactly. I think just hearing your teacher say that, it's like, okay, I get it. That's your favorite film.
Right.
You can still watch that.
Oh, Annie Hall. Sorry.
No, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. I was like, Annie something.
Yeah.
Because all I could think of was Diane Keaton as soon as she said, like, a big Woody Allen film. But, yeah, the topic should be acknowledged. Like, we can't,
Yeah. I just hate, like, the anger that comes up when people are like, well, maybe we should reconsider this. They're like, no, I have a right to. It's like, boomerish, to put it lightly.
Yeah. No, I genuinely have this kind of thought process that, again, you're fully allowed to like these movies and watch these movies. No one's telling you to stop. But I think the main thing that I always think about art and separating from the artist is not necessarily that you can't like art if it's a bad artist, but just kind of contextualizing it and understanding where it came from. And, you can praise the movie, but maybe just acknowledge that the artist isn't a great person.
Right.
I won't say anything necessarily about his case because it's never been proven. I don't know one way or the other. But, in the case of like a Weinstein, like, love Carol.
Love
great.
Carol.
Love a ton of Weinstein movies. The whole entire Scream franchise, my favorite franchise of all time. That being said, I can say like, oh, it came from an icky producer.
Yeah.
Still the best horror movies of all time, but it's got some issues.
Right. I think that's a really like kind of like post like millennial kind of stance to have. I feel like, and that's what makes this really hard is that like I feel like people that like people that like Woody Allen movies are like a bit older. A lot of boomers, Gen X. But yeah, I think that there's once that stance is normalized versus kind of like he's canceled, she's canceled if you believe in that sort of thing. I think that's like a better approach to have to it, honestly.
But you know what else is good to have? Kristen Stewart in a Charlie's Angels movie. If you don't know, today, at the time of the filming, Charlie's Angels is being released, and some people who have seen it are talking just about how charismatic and wonderful Kristen Stewart is, and saying that she needs to be the new Chris. What we mean by that is there in Hollywood and with fans, there's kind of a high praise of Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Pine, calling them the Chris's, talking about how they're these like beautiful, charismatic men who everyone just adores. And now we need to add Kristen Stewart into that because she kind of fulfills a similar role that they do in that she is a beautiful, charismatic person. And she's got that nice masculine energy as well.
Oh, yeah. You seen her hair recently?
Yeah, I've seen her hair recently.
Those gifts.
More on that later because what we're going to talk about first is the fact that some people said not only should she be added, she should replace Chris Pratt because he has come under fire recently. He got some backlash for still supporting his church, which had some homophobic views because he had some Trump-supporting kind of ideas. People caught him backlash on that. And so people are saying that maybe we need to praise Kristen Stewart in place of Chris Pratt. So what are our initial thoughts on this?
I love this idea. I love this so much. I think Kristen Stewart, her praise is long overdue. Her performance in Twilight is iconic.
True.
Like, when we were like growing up and people were like, Kristen Stewart is so boring. No. She, lesbian icon. Anyway, I think this is awesome.
She wasn't boring. She was just a lesbian.
She was just. Thank you. I want that on a T-shirt. Also, she did the character justice as well. But anyway,
True.
It's a conversation you guys are not ready to have. But yeah, I think this is super awesome. And if if Chris Pratt is loving Trump, just put a lesbian in. That's the easy Band-Aid solution.
That's what I've said about the White House for years.
Oh my God. Thank you.
No, I kind of get where people are coming from, but the way I look at it is it's like, yes, we need to praise Kristen Stewart because she was fantastic. And I'm sorry, I used to be mean to you and talk about how boring you were. You weren't. You were just a lesbian. And I've seen you in stuff now that's not Twilight. You're a really great actress. Fantastic. And I think it's good to want to praise her. And also at the same time say that if people still want to like Chris Pratt, sure, go for it.
Yeah.
I like Guardians of the Galaxy. So I feel hot take. I'm the only one who feels that way.
No, I do think Kristen Stewart, I feel like it's coming back full force. It kind of feels like that 2008-esque feeling where everybody was kind of after her in popularity.
Right.
Yeah, I used to think she was boring too, but
I love her. I want an apology.
I gave one.
I'm not for being.
I loved Twilight when it first came out. I watched that film I think 9 times in one weekend. I made my brother sit through one of them. But I thought she was boring, but I didn't know other films she was in, and then now she's getting more popular. There's she has another film coming out next month, and it's just holy crap. But yeah, I feel like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like she should be in the Chris's. I don't know if she should replace Chris Pratt. Now, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I feel like
I hate him.
Yeah, well, same.
I feel like he is entitled to his opinion though. But yeah, maybe he could take a step back and
sit
Kristen
down.
Stewart.
Sit down.
So there is something to be said about this in the sense that, Chris Pratt is still kind of receiving the same adoration that he's always received from people, and people still really adore him, even though he's got caught in some controversies, where Kristen Stewart has trouble getting the same level of adoration because in the past she was in a debatably bad vampire movie and people thought she was boring. So do you think that's indicative of kind of a grander theme in Hollywood, that men can get skyrocketed to fame and praise because they're just so likable, where it's harder for women to be likable, quote unquote?
Oh, for sure. I think that like Kristen Stewart, like in all of her performances, she kind of like her personality seeps through, and she's gone on like talk shows and like she's super uncomfortable because she's like, I'm an introvert, like this is like not for me. I'm like an actress. I love to like delve deep into my characters, and I think she does that really well. And for like everyone for so long to like, even before she came out, to like label her as like before she came out, they were like this boring straight girl, and it's like that wasn't her personality. Like people are just mean, but she's just a lesbian. I think men, especially men named Chris, are like kind of like skyrocketed into this like, this like level of like adoration. Like, oh my God, like, why isn't this guy my boyfriend? And it's like, why isn't Kristen Stewart my girlfriend? Like,
These are the questions.
These are the questions. Like, I don't know. I just like, I wish women would get more credit, and I think this is starting to happen with people like Kristen Stewart become more popular.
Yeah. No, as soon as he said all men named Chris, I immediately thought all men named Chris and Tom.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, because I think someone asked one of our friends, Tanner, and I, like, if, I think it was you, Matt, that like, do men skyrocket quicker in Hollywood? And both Tanner and I immediately said yes. And it's true. Because as you said, when she was first like doing publicity tours from Twilight, people were like, she's a boring straight white girl. And you're right, it wasn't her personality, because technically it's hard as a LGBTQ member to even come out in Hollywood.
Right.
And so, yeah, like, that was terrible for her, but now she's, like, blooming, I guess, in a way.
It's the best, like, revenge story.
Exactly.
Like, I'm interesting and gay. Like, I also have
Look
a
at me
similar
now.
one, but we'll get back to that later.
That was just Maisie's high school.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I think that, I mean, as a man, I can definitely think that even beyond Hollywood, I just think in life, I feel like it's easier for men to be kind of like likable and praised.
Yeah.
Frankly, I think myself, I've seen women, I think you're a great example. I feel like we have very similar personalities, we do similar things, and I often see myself praised, and people are like, Matt's so funny and quirky and all these things. And this is just, me not really having to try and still getting the same, like a higher level of praise, at least in my opinion.
Right. I read something a little bit ago on Twitter that was like, it was a few days ago. It was like this male comedian talking about how like women aren't inherently funny, and like everything that, which is false, that's a lie, and everything like that women could do if they're funny, they're just emulating a man. And I think that comes from like, that like is an addition to this idea that like, you just have to show up as a man and you're praised, but that is incorrect, and that's another conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just much easier for men to walk in and just instantly be like beloved, for sure, in every light.
No, I think of kind of what goes into it, and specifically with Hollywood, is like there is just sort of this like, we love a good heartthrob, but like but he's also funny, and like E-News will be constantly spinning like anytime like a semi-attractive man tells like a joke, they'll like kind of really run with that. But then women, what you usually see them reported on is, they didn't look good out in public, they
exactly.
misspoke here, they did this wrong, they're dating the wrong person, or they broke up and they complain about it too much. And like, I just feel like usually the way we report on men and women are very different.
Exactly.
I think a great example is like, Brie Larson, when she was being Captain Marvel, the whole conversation was basically like, she's not funny enough, she's not charismatic, it's not
hated
this.
that.
It was awful.
She is all those things, by the way.
is,
She just has a different sense of humor than like men get a pass to just be instantly like accepted, and if women show a little bit of snark, which is like a lot of women's inherent personality in comedy is like having a little snark because they like take in so much, they're seen as like bitches, honestly.
No, I think a really great example, is like Robert Pattinson and his like promo for The Lighthouse. He's been very like sarcastic and snarky.
Yes.
People love it; they think it's hilarious. But like when Brie Larson was snarky and sarcastic, she was bitchy. Like we don't let them have that.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, another case and story of that is Cara Delevingne when she did. Is it Paper
Also
Towns?
a lesbian.
Paper Towns.
Yes.
Also a lesbian.
Yep.
Yes, and I love her. But when I forget, I think it was like a news place in Minnesota or something. She was doing a coverage and they were asking her questions and it just like it was her humor and I could definitely tell because I mean British humor is different humor than American humor. But I could tell it was her humor. But yeah, they were. The lady was like, "Oh, go have a Red Bull and take a nap." And and people.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because like how she came off, it sounded way too snarky to them apparently. And she was like, "Maybe go take a nap." And I'm like, whoa.
Once gay women's humor is like projected into the mainstream, it's over for everyone. It really is. Like we are coming for you. Like it needs to be the standard.
No, speaking of gay women, something that a lot of people are praising is the fact that Kristen Stewart in this role is playing like a very gender queer kind of role, and it kind of goes into what we're saying about women still being able to fulfill this sort of like masculine ideal, and they can still be this snarky and sarcastic and be portrayed in a good way. So do you think her being in this movie, being in that kind of gender queer role, gender queer just meaning that she's defying what we typically expect of feminine or masculine roles, do you think that is going to be progress for this sort of issue?
I definitely do. I think that it is like breaking down the barriers of what it's a gender role, so it's breaking down the barriers of what we see as masculine and feminine, and it's doing it in like a really smart way. And this film was written and directed by, I'm forgetting her name. She was in Pitch Perfect, Elizabeth Banks. And she's, literally, nice. She's a really progressive person. I listened to her on like Dax Shepard's podcast, and like one of the things that she really likes to do is like break down like inherent barriers that are so present. I think she really did that with this role. I haven't seen it yet because it came out today, but I'm definitely seeing it within the week, and I'm just so excited to like check it out and see if it like holds up from what I've read.
Yeah.
No, I want to see it as well, except like I saw, I guess, earlier reviews saying it was not as great, but I feel like it's just because it's a different perspective this time.
Yeah.
And I love Elizabeth Banks, and she even plays Bosley in this movie. Like,
fun.
But I think it's interesting that they have Kristen Stewart playing a genderqueer type character. I feel like we need more of that because we just definitely need more representation in Hollywood.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think any different voice being added to the screen is always helpful.
Yes.
So like I am right there with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know who is
Love it.
not right there with us?
Who?
Disney!
What?
Again.
Oh my goodness.
Are you guys sick of it yet?
Are you guys sick of it? I'm sick of it. So after years and years of preparation and dredging their backlog for every possible movie, except for Song of the South,
Thank God.
Disney Plus is finally up and running. It's launched, and they have a lot of old movies as well as some new series, notably like High School Musical, the musical, the series.
I love that.
Which, a classic. The Mandalorian, shows of the sort. It costs $7 a month or $70 a year, and you can choose to subscribe for the whole year. It's a little bit lower than Netflix, so people are super into that, and some people are also a little perturbed because it's another streaming service that they're going to have to pay for. So what are your initial thoughts on this? Do you like it? Do you not?
Well, first of all, I'm using someone else's account, so I love it. But you know that meme where it's like lists all the expenses and it's like, I have no money. What is the problem?
Yeah.
That's me. I have every streaming service and I have no money. So like, I will continue to buy them if they're put out because I need to consume content every second of the day. But yeah, I was like, when I heard about this, I was like, really? Again? I just think Disney wants a piece of that streaming action. You know?
No, they definitely do, and I was actually surprised that it's $7 a month. Right now, it's definitely going to increase.
That's true.
Because I mean, Netflix. I think,
used to be a nickel. Like
yeah, no, it used to be super low, and now it's like $13 a month.
Right.
But I don't pay that. My mom pays that,
Right,
and we just all hog it. But like right now, I pay for Hulu because I'm so used to Netflix that I've watched so much stuff that now I'm like, oh, I'm bored with Netflix, and now I got Hulu, so now I catched up on Bob's Burgers, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Hulu's the best.
And they just got renewed for another season. But anyway, I think they did just want a piece of the action, and it's another way they can keep their content to themselves.
Yeah, right.
Because I mean, I think if I remember, Star Wars is now part of the service.
Yep.
Which before that, I used to be able to watch it on like TNT, but now it's like I have to go to Disney Plus, which I expect my parents to get anyway because we love Disney movies.
Right.
But
Who's cable anymore? If you have cable, you're a
real
boomer.
question.
my mom has cable.
Well, I'm kidding.
We love Tiffany.
We do.
I'm torn because I'm going to complain about it.
Oh,
but
I love that.
I also shouldn't because I use my sister's Disney Plus.
Hey.
So like again, I'm
Kylie?
not paying for it. Taylor.
Oh. Wow.
So like I'm not paying for it, and so I shouldn't complain because I'm enjoying it and consuming it for free.
Mm-hmm.
But also like I think it's dumb. We shouldn't have this many streaming services, even if I'm not paying for them. Somebody is, and that's not fair because I do think we are just basically pushing towards cable at this point.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Because like I'm waiting for the day that like Disney Plus and Hulu announce a deal that if you pay like this high price, now you get both of their channels, and it's like, whoa, that's never been seen before.
Yeah.
But I think it is leading to a point because now we're seeing that Nickelodeon recently made a deal with Netflix where all of their content's going to end up on Netflix. Well, not all of it, but like a good chunk of it's going to end up on Netflix with some of their old series being revived or new original content coming out. And Cartoon Network made a deal with HBO Max, and they're doing the same thing.
Who has HBO Max?
My
Sorry.
parents, my parents do, but like when it was Game of
Parents
Thrones.
love streaming
they be
services.
loving their- they loving their streaming.
No. So like they only have for a short period of time.
Yeah.
I like that,
So
the
like when
trials.
Game of Thrones was on, they would have HBO, and then they would get rid of it because like we used to like have cable and then all the streaming services, and then we realized like what we weren't using and then like
Makes
how
it
that
very
was
apparent.
affecting us. And so my parents are like, usually I'll come home and they'll be like, oh, we don't have this anymore, but we have this, or we don't have this, but we have that now.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, okay, but
Yeah.
now I have Hulu, so I'm just gonna go chill at my house and be like, I got Hulu now.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that's really common. People like pick and choose what they want.
Yeah.
But it's cool that you can do that, and it's not like cable where you're locked in and you can like cancel stuff. But
Right, yeah,
it's
you're
still
trapped for a year.
Yeah, but it's still like leading in that direction, which is like, I don't know if it's problematic. But I know that's like where it's heading, and I think it's kind of inevitable. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Like if there's content out there, people are gonna try to make money off it as much and often as they can.
Right.
Like,
So the only thing that I have that I pay for is I have Spotify Premium, which also gets you a free Hulu account. Which
yeah.
is fun.
Love that.
And so I have Hulu technically, but I'm with you where I think it's inevitable that it's just going to get to a point where everyone's so broken up and they're just charging more that you'll be paying the same as cable as
Yeah.
before. Do you guys think that there is a possibility that we will ever get back to a point where it's basically, because Netflix used to be pretty much the only streaming service, do you think it's going to head back that direction, or do you think it'll just keep spreading out?
I would love for it to. I think that a new service would have to emerge though, like from like a really like prominent company, like, well, because like I mean, like Microsoft or something. I don't know if they're in like the streaming wars or anything, but like if a really prominent company comes out that has a lot of titles to their name, I think it could happen. Or if enough people are sick and tired of like buying all these streaming services, like we all are, I think it could happen. And I hope it does, honestly, because I really want Netflix to be like a nickel again, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's going to come in a wave, so like it's going to expand, but then go back to one and then expand again. Because I think I saw something on Twitter, and it was like, as soon as Disney Plus came out, it was like, it's going to get to the point Hulu and HBO are going to team up and just like do all of this stuff, which I think you can get HBO anyway on Hulu, but like for an extra cost. But yeah, I think it's going to get to the point, it's going to expand too much, people are going to spend too much, then they're gonna like start quitting, or like there's just gonna be that one program that's like we have it all, and everybody's gonna jump to that, and then it's gonna start over again.
No, I think it probably will just end up being kind of a following the market thing. I think Netflix is gonna die, frankly.
I hope not.
I think they will.
I'm kind of sick of it. Like, I don't want to watch that movie.
Okay, once Stranger Things ends, then
you know what I mean?
Fair.
Yeah.
No, but I think that probably we'll just see, kind of like right now, like you mentioned, like Hulu and HBO Max, they are partnered to where you can get HBO through Hulu.
It's like HBO Stars and Cinemax, maybe?
Yeah. So like you have to pay. So I think we'll probably see mergers like that where people companies realize they're not going to pay for 6 different streaming services, so we bump it down to like 3. And so I think it will just kind of wave in and out, like McKenna said. That being said, some people say that this is a great thing because they're bootlickers. Some people have said that this is actually great for the market, and companies opening up like Disney Plus, since they're charging $7, Netflix is going to be encouraged to go down to like $7.
I hope so.
Do you think that will happen, or do you think that it's just going to keep going up?
Honestly, well, Netflix is in like a lot of debt, aren't they?
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I buy it.
Okay. Oh, well. Oh yeah, they taken all your money. I think that it'd be nice if that were the case, because then, like you said, like the market would like fluctuate itself out, and then it wouldn't be that expensive for everyone. But I think that. Because I think Netflix is in debt because they're producing so many originals, because that's why people have it, like not so much for their library of other stuff, because it's kind of crap. So I think that everyone's just going to like keep charging more, because the way to make their content original is to make original series, and that's very expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just the costs are going to keep rising, unless a new like element can be introduced or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because that's how I feel. But when you said like. I feel like there's the chance it will decrease just a smidge, just like to convince people to come back or to stay. But then it's gonna rise, and then another time it's a wave where it's gonna rise, but then there's gonna be a merger or something, something happening where the streaming service will knock it down just a bit to keep people on or get more people on, and then it's gonna rise again. It's just. It's waves.
It's going to be a whole thing.
I think that it's absolutely true that, competitors, their prices usually always meet, right? They always end up around the same price. But I don't think it usually goes down. I think what's a lot more likely is we'll see Disney Plus bumping up towards Netflix's prices, because they're like, they will pay $20, so we will charge them $20. I don't know. That was Walt Disney's head in a vault somewhere.
His brain in a jar, like, I did it.
I've done it. And I think what also you brought up is actually, I didn't even think about, but like, right now Disney is able to get away with like, we have all these old series that you've been wanting to watch again. But once everyone watches those again, they're going to want new content, and they're going to have to pay to make that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they've already made like The Mandalorian, which I thought was just okay. They already have shows like The Mandalorian that they're having to pay like a good chunk of money to make.
Right. And these like people will know if they they have to cut costs somewhere, and if they cut costs in their original content, I mean, they're just the whole service will get a bad rap. Like, did you see the new, I don't know what's Disney, did you see the new Ratatouille spinoff? It was awful. Let's go back to Netflix,
So, you know what I recommend that will solve every problem?
What's that?
You know what's cheap to use?
What?
No.
Puppets. You don't have to pay an actor, you just have like a bunch of marionettes on a string. We already have like a new Muppets thing happening right now on Disney Plus, but like,
do we?
we do.
Oh boy.
We love the Muppets.
We love that.
Just have like Kermit the Frog on like a marionette string being like, hey, I'm capitalism.
Is that because you want to get into the puppet business? I think that's okay. That makes sense.
I was like, I love Kermit.
I'm for this idea.
I like it.
It's gonna,
So
Imagine
next
if this
question,
happens.
do you guys think puppets are the future of Hollywood?
Yes, and here's why.
That being said, what are you guys' closing thoughts on this or anything else we talked about today?
Streaming has all my money. Kristen Stewart has my heart. And I'm disappointed in Jeff Goldblum. Yeah.
I'm surprised by Jeff Goldblum. I love Kristen Stewart again.
Hey.
She's not a boring person.
No. She's just a lesbian.
And I'm probably just going to sneak onto my parents' Disney Plus account.
I think Hollywood actors can work with who they want, but need to face the repercussions of it and understand that. I think Hollywood tends to praise men more than they praise women, and I think Hollywood needs to hire more puppets.
Ah, yes, I love that.
That being said, I've been your host, Matthew Yapp. Joining me today was
McKenna Kolb.
And
Mayzie Brammer.
my co-host. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Something about a wizard's never late or some shit. You know the one.
Magically.
A princess.
No, a wizard's never late nor is he early. He's always exactly on time. Gandalf or something.
That's literally from the Princess Diaries, but continue. Sorry.
Also, Lord of the Rings.
All right.
We're going.
Sorry.